Nerds,
Nerds.
we are here and we are back with video. Hey, hey. uh, so
You
we've had
can see
to,
my nice sword.
yeah, he's gonna tell you a little bit about that later. Um, but we are here in front of Will's house, actually, sitting on his front porch. We've
Casa de Boyer.
improvised yet again on several counts. Sickness is going through. I think we got him sick this past week.
Y'all were
And
sick.
yeah, my kids are sick. They've been like almost constantly sick. It feels like since January.
My wife has noticed this.
It's so crazy. I hate this time of year as when it comes to viruses and stuff. This has actually been probably the worst winter we've ever had in terms of like somebody is like constantly sick almost. It gets old. Hopefully, in the spring comes, we'll only have to deal with allergies. Hopefully.
Yeah. Well, we just went through false spring.
Yeah, I know. Like only in Winston-Salem, right?
Second winter.
Fall, spring. Now we have second winter. It was supposed to snow yesterday morning. It didn't.
It did here.
Did it?
Yeah, I woke up to snow in my yard and backyard.
Oh, nice. So you got a little bit. We didn't get anything. We thought we'd get at least a dusting, but unless it melted before we got up. So we were all sick, so I don't think we even looked out the window till later in the day.
Right.
So we might have missed it.
I was up at 7 or 8, so.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. But anyway, we're here at your house. And we were going to be using our lapel mics, but one of them finally died. They were cheap. Bought them like 2 years ago. It was the very first microphone purchase I made back when I was still doing my YouTube channel. And we've used them a number of times. They work great for on-the-go recording, but one of them died. So something I'm learning, like when you're recording, always have a backup plan. So I'm very glad I brought my Blue Yeti with me.
Man.
Because it actually does pretty well. Like as long as you're close enough to it, it picks up pretty well. You can turn the gain up, and it does reasonably well for group recordings. So hopefully this will sound good for y'all. Anyway, we are here to talk about Rurouni Kenshin.
Rurouni Kenshin.
Is it Rurouni or Rurouni?
Rurouni.
Rurouni?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Japanese people out there, correct us. Or people
I've always
who speak
said
Japanese.
Rurouni.
Rurouni. I don't know. The transliteration is Rurouni. So I think Rurouni, you would think. But who knows? You know, it's Wikipedia will probably tell us, but it doesn't matter. So, but this is one of your favorite anime series, yes?
It's Rurouni.
It is Rurouni. Okay, Rurouni. He's correct.
I think that's what that means with the line over the O.
Yeah. Should be. So, I guess I can give a tiny bit of history because I did actually read some of the good old Wikipedia entry earlier. This came out in 1996, originally in Japan, and it was based on the manga, which Will owns Volume 1. Do you own any other volumes? Or just
no, just the first volume.
Yeah, so...
it contains the entire first story arc until he fights Glowy Eye Dude.
Awesome. So, and that is going to be kind of our main focus in the episode today. Like, we'll give an overview of the series, introduction to the characters, but then we're going to focus on the first story arc, which you said was episodes 1 through 7, yes?
Right.
So this lasted 3 seasons total, and I think it was 2 years after it aired in Japan. It then aired in the U.S., according to Wikipedia, on Cartoon Network in their Toonami segment. So it would have been airing around the same time as Dragon Ball Z in the U.S. So this is like a contemporary to Dragon Ball Z. So I don't know how many like Dragon Ball Z fans saw this and were like, oh, another Japanese anime. Let me watch this.
I don't remember seeing it on Toonami. What I actually did is I borrowed the entire DVD set, all 3 seasons, from a friend.
Nice. Okay.
I'll name drop this friend, Justin Flager.
Justin, if you're watching.
Yes, you're famous now. But yeah, I love the show.
Awesome. So it probably maybe early 2000s when you first got into it, thereabouts. High school, even high school.
No, it was college. It was
so
my time in Forsyth Tech, actually. So it was more like 2007, 8,
Okay.
2008. I'm gonna say 2008.
So it's been a while, but so you didn't watch it when it first released in the
No.
U.S. then, so you caught up with it later, and I found out about it through my friendship with Will. Well, actually, I guess you would have been watching it. We had already been friends for a few years at that point.
Yeah.
So you probably told me about it. You was like, "Oh, this series is so good." So maybe we'll start with why do you have? All right, well, give me your top 3 reasons why this is your favorite anime series. Or would
There's
you call
samurai in it.
would you call it your favorite, or would you just put it in top 3? Do you have, or is it your favorite samurai?
It's definitely my favorite samurai anime. I mean, but I haven't watched a lot of samurai anime. I've watched Inuyasha just a little bit. If you can call that a samurai anime. I have watched a tiny bit of Samurai Champloo. I don't even know the name of it. Maybe an episode or two. So I don't think it would be fair to. I think it would be true to say it's my favorite samurai anime, but it wouldn't be fair to give the assumption that I've actually gone out there and watched all of the samurai anime to compare.
What about Afro Samurai?
No.
I've never seen any of that either, but it is apparently voiced. Well, at least it is.
Samuel L. Jackson.
Samuel L. Jackson, right?
It was made specifically for him.
Okay, yeah. So, well, obviously there weren't, as far as there weren't any
I don't
samurai
think that counts
of
as
African
anime.
descent.
Isn't that American made?
True, but it's made in that style, right? Like kind of the anime style or the Japanese influence.
Yeah, and you're wrong. Historically there was a black samurai.
Was there really?
Yeah, there was.
Was he an immigrant to Japan, or was he a
Yes.
slave who became a samurai?
I
or
think so. I think it was that second one.
he was a slave.
He found his freedom.
Ah, see that somebody should make a movie out of that.
They did a live action movie. What
was it called?
I don't remember.
You need to look that up. That needs to be a movie of the month. Like,
Yeah,
that would be pretty
That
cool,
is
actually. Yeah, okay. I did not know that. So you have The Last Samurai with Tom Cruise. Then you have Afro Samurai with Samuel L. Jackson. But you have a real life historical story of was he the one and only African samurai?
he may
so to
have
speak?
been.
Okay.
He may have been.
That's pretty cool. I mean, not cool how he got to Japan, obviously, if he was a slave or a POW or something.
I think that's what happened, but we'll have to watch the film and find out.
Yeah, or maybe indentured servitude, because some people did that. They would go and work somewhere for 7 years or however long to pay back a debt, that kind of thing. But it's probably more likely you got captured by someone or sold. But yeah, I don't know. Interesting. Okay, so back to Rurouni Kenshin. So, do you remember back when you first started watching it, what it was that resonated with you at the time? Like,
I mean, I understand that I'm older now and my tastes have changed. So now I recognize how simplistic it also is. But what I like the most about it is that the characters take time to have these philosophical debates. There's backstories that are complicated and, well, maybe they're not that complicated, but they're well thought out backstories, and they make the characters more interesting because the characters are all fighting for a different philosophy, a different belief or mindset that makes it more interesting. Oh, the characters! I mean, the show is definitely not for little kids.
Yeah. It'd be probably TV 14 maybe if it came out today.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't see much blood, but definitely
there is
definitely violence for sure.
What episode you stopped on?
I got up to 5,
episode?
I think. Yeah, up to episode 5. So the second is sort of like a 2-parter where they introduce Sanosuke Sagara.
Yeah.
And then they continue that storyline in episode 5. I believe I got all the way through episode 5, but definitely started it.
Cool.
And I like that character. Like those 2 episodes, I think that resonated with me the most out of the first 5 that I watched. I like the backstory for Sanosuke. It's interesting, and I really like how they tied it in with Kenshin's
Yeah.
backstory, like you have the royalists, versus the Sakiho force, and just some of the atrocities that were committed against the Sakiho force
I'm
by
glad
the
you're
royalists.
saying. And sorry, I'm just glad you're saying Sakiho Force instead of Sakiko Force, which is unfortunately what the dub was saying.
Oh, I think I looked up the.
They eventually started saying Sakiho later. I don't know why.
I think
they
it was
switched.
inconsistent. Yeah,
It was.
So we were He's rewatching, but I was watching for the first time. Well, actually, I think I've seen a couple episodes. I think I may have borrowed your DVDs at some point.
Cool.
I remember seeing the first one. And I don't think I got much past that the first time around.
If I let him borrow your DVDs, Justin, shh, I'm sorry. Shh, don't tell yourself. I don't know why I shushed. Don't tell Justin.
Let's see. What was I gonna say? But no, we were watching the Hulu, wherever that came from, the Hulu dub or the dub.
It says
that Hulu,
Sony at the end.
Does it?
Yeah, I don't know why it says Sony Pictures at the end. But it's either the Hulu dub or the Sony dub.
Maybe they're the distributor now for it or something.
Yeah, that's it.
Like or they own the rights maybe to distribute. However that works.
Well, they're distributing the wrong version.
Yeah, I didn't check whether they had the original Japanese audio track or
They
not.
didn't. I looked.
They didn't.
Yeah.
Okay. I tend to. It depends. Like, sometimes I like to. More so if it's live action, like for instance, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Right.
A classic. I prefer listening to the actual.
Hello.
The actual actors speaking. Was it Chinese? Right. Like I think it takes place in China.
Yeah.
If memory serves me. I prefer, I guess, Mandarin maybe. I prefer that because you hear all their inflections, and these are good actors too.
Yeah.
You got Chow Yun-fat and Michelle Yao and all that. But I like that with the subtitles as opposed to like listening to a dub.
Yeah.
But there are some anime
Like a
where
bad dub.
the dub is actually done high quality, and then I don't mind because sometimes I've noticed like the Japanese audio with anime is just like way over the top, like, and it rubs me the wrong way sometimes. But it depends. It depends on the type of anime it is. Like, there are some that I've watched where it's great. It's awesome. Like,
Yeah.
But yeah. Although it seems like all of them have some of those characteristics where somebody like freaks out and then the animation style changes and their face changes. It's like, oh, you know what I mean? What is that called? Is there a name for that?
Well, it's an exaggeration of emotion or facial expression meant for comedic effect. I don't know that it has a word.
Okay.
Or
Nerds.
name.
Someone out there knows the answer to that probably. Okay, I'm getting us off topic here. So you shared a bit about why you liked it, why it resonated with you.
Yeah.
You liked the fact, which I noticed that as well. The characters had some philosophical discussions. I
I like that.
democracy came up in there. I think in episode 4 actually.
Right.
There were some people that wanted democracy, but then in that particular episode, these guys were jerks who were willing to kill people to get democracy. So it's like, but they talk about that. Like, I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And I've noticed that some of the dialogue was different between the original version, the version I originally watched, and this version. So I'm left wondering how much of this was actually said in the Japanese and how much was just made up for this dub. But
That would suck. Like, why you wouldn't try to keep it as close to the original script?
Because at one point, little Susie, whose name can't possibly be Susie because she's Japanese, was talking about how they were going to go get chow mein. And I'm like, this is the wrong country. It's not even right. And in the original version that I watched, it was always the beef hot pot or something. It was never chow mein. I noticed that.
All right, Sony.
So I'm getting off
Sony,
track.
you need to do better, Sony. Like, come on now.
That's right.
That's pretty bad.
Let's go ahead and sell all your Marvel properties back to Marvel. You need to do better.
No, I will say they did good with the last Spider-Man. That was pretty good.
Right.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I'm just picking. You did really good, Sony. You did really good with Ghostbusters, the new one,
Afterlife.
Afterlife, and especially with Into the Spider-Verse.
That was awesome.
Your anime has to get better.
Yes. That was awesome. Looking forward to the next one.
Yeah.
That should be cool.
Yeah.
That will definitely be a movie of the month when it comes out for us.
And speaking of Ninja Turtles,
we did not
Yeah.
plan this, so pull it apart like Superman. We both wore TMNT shirts today. For those of you that are watching on video next Tuesday, you'll see that.
the same studio that animated Into the Spider-Verse is animating the new Ninja Turtle movie.
Oh shit, that should be good. Yeah, I actually liked the last animated TMNT movie, the CGI one.
Yeah,
thought it was
I
pretty
did
good.
too. I kept wondering if it was connected with the original '90s live actions or not, but yeah,
Yeah. Anyway,
I don't know. I miss those. I guess we should get back on topic.
that could be a bonus episode someday. Like we could watch. I think for some reason the one that is most clearly stuck in my head is the third one. I remember the trailers for that one from when I was a kid,
Cool.
and I think because it had the samurai, where don't they go back in time to Japan or something?
They do.
Yeah.
Using the time scepter.
Yeah. I just remember seeing all the trailers for that, and for some reason that one stuck in my mind.
Have you ever seen it?
I'm sure I have.
Cool.
Yeah, it's been a while though, so yeah, rewatch. Let's see. So, well, I guess let's start. Let's get into the characters a bit. I mean, the main one, the namesake. So his name's not Rurouni Kenshin. His name Himura. Is it Kenshin Himura or Himura Kenshin?
It depends.
Depends on what you want to emphasize.
It depends on if you're doing it the correct Japanese way or the American way. Kenshin would, I think that Kenshin. You see in Japan, your personal name goes last and your family name goes first.
Okay.
So I could be wrong, but I think his family name is Tamura and his personal name is Kenshin.
So it would be Himura Kenshin.
Yes,
So
I think.
yeah, because when they refer to him, like when the other characters, they call him Kenshin, although the Hulu dub is like Kenshi, but it's Kenshin.
Yeah,
So that's like his personal name, Kenshin.
right. And
So Rurouni Kenshin would be Kenshin the Wandering Swordsman, right? Kind of the translation. Like,
yeah, or I think the dub that I watched, they just called him a Ronin, not instead of a Wanderer. Ronin.
well, they do mention Wandering Swordsman quite a bit.
Yeah,
At least unless we listen to different tracks, but
and that's basically what a Ronin on the Journey of Enlightenment. I forget what it's called. That's basically what they're called, a masterless samurai, and the ones who wander are on a special path of enlightenment. There's a name for it, but it's not important.
which I like. I like that they didn't reveal right away. They tease that a bit, like why is he a wanderer? I thought they did a good job in the first 5 episodes, like developing his character, just dropping little bits and pieces. You get to know him better, you get to find out more about him, and you eventually, I think it was episode 3, where you find out the reason why he's become a wanderer.
Bro.
Yeah, we're outdoors, so that he had killed many people, and he had decided to no longer do that.
Right.
So he felt that he had to leave the work that he was doing in order to do that. So tell us a little bit more about Kenshin and
Well, his backstory is explored a bit more in the Samurai X prequel series, which I forgot I own in there.
Okay.
It has a different animation style. I won't get into spoilers, especially since it's been a while since I watched it and I don't want to get it wrong. But yeah, he's a much younger man and he's married.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he is a widower in the new series, and that's the only thing I'll say. So
Yeah, because they don't even hint at that in
No.
the first 5 episodes, like
Yeah,
him
may-
having a family.
that might not have been written yet. in the that part of the plot might not have been known to the creators.
That's true. Yeah,
yet.
if the creators, yeah, because so many TV shows are a work in progress, so you don't always know the full arc you're going to take the character through when you start. Um, yeah, because it's not like it's certainly something that you know that it would fit in there. They don't mention anything at all. Like they make no allusion to him having family. Um, and he looks. I guess maybe this is more of a function of anime, but he looks super young. Like
According to the manga, he should be 28.
20. Oh, okay. So he would have fought. Wasn't it like 10 years prior or something like that? So he would have been a teenager.
Yeah, and I know there's a joke. It wasn't in the dub that we watched, but I think it's in the manga here. A joke about Kaoru. We'll get to her name here in a second, but Kaoru, her name and character, joked about how old are you? Because I think when they set the story, the Meiji Revolution was like 40 years in the past or something. It was a plot hole.
Yeah, like don't they talk about it a little bit right at the beginning there. I was reading it as I was waiting for you. Like the timing, just something like 40 years prior, but so it does give you the impression that he's much older, unless he's like timeless.
Well, I'm just going to chalk it up to a plot hole.
Yeah, that's possible. Maybe either that or he's a vampire as well, and he got frozen.
That's right.
I don't know if that works that way in Japan, but like
Can't drink the blood.
Frozen at a specific age. Let's see.
That's why he doesn't kill. He sees the blood, he'll become bloodthirsty.
So he helped. We find out, I think, in particular, by the third episode, we find out that he actually helped to usher in the Meiji dynasty. That he was part of the forces that. Was it? Do you know enough about Japanese history to say, was it like a coup d'état? Or is it just an uprising against the existing power structure?
Well, I admit I haven't studied the actual history behind the Meiji Revolution. It was a revolution.
So it was a revolution.
Because it's in the name. I wouldn't call it a dynasty. I would call it a Meiji era or Meiji government.
Okay. So dynasty it'd have to last for quite a while, and I'm assuming it didn't.
But what I do know is that the shogun had ruled Japan up until that point, and that the revolution was against the shogun.
And that would be now. Did a new emperor? So is it shogun emperor, right? Like
no. The shogun and the emperor are different. The shogun is a head warlord that back in the 1500s, I forget. Tokugawa was the first shogun. He went to war with all the other warlords, and he beat them all, and so he became the head honcho warlord. Everybody became subservient to him. They made peace. Even the emperor at this point was no longer the actual leader of Japan. He was more like just
like a figurehead almost.
Yeah, figurehead.
Okay.
But the shogun was the real person in charge.
So basically, like a military leader.
Yes.
Yeah, military, and so it'd be like if the head general in the U.S. was in charge instead of the president, sort of. Or maybe to use a better example, like in the UK, be like if the prime minister is like the one who's actually in charge. The queen and king are more figureheads, but then if the prime minister was also like the head general, or I don't even know if they use the word. I guess they were. Anyway.
Well, the shogun, not the shogun, the daimyo, the warlord. Though a warlord would be a military leader who is a little mini emperor.
Okay.
Of a particular province or area. So it's more like just random. If there was a general or whatever the highest the military ranking is in Texas, took over Texas and became the governor of Texas. You know, fair election, whatever, but he was still military. And then he got a small army together and conquered all the other states. Then it would be more like Joe Biden to the military governor in Texas.
Okay.
Who's the real leader of the nation now. And Joe Biden is more of a figurehead.
It's fair to say. We won't go into that.
Well, I'm not trying to get political.
He's not trying to make any political
he just
statements.
happens to be president right now.
That's true. We almost never get into... I don't think we've ever gotten into politics here, and that's probably a good thing, because that's not what the show is about.
No. No, you can get that on Facebook.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, man. What was it I was watching? I was watching a show the other day. It might have been Gravity Falls.
Cool.
I never finished Gravity Falls, so I've been going back and actually finishing it. I really like Gravity Falls, by the way. We should do an episode on that at some point.
I have one of the journals.
Yeah, I know. It might have been that, but a younger person... No, I guess I don't think it was Gravity Falls, because they probably wouldn't make this reference. But somewhere, like, a younger person was talking about... he used the term, the old person's gazette.
The old person's gazette.
Then he said, Facebook. Because there's a lot of older people on Facebook, if you don't... I mean, if you're on Facebook, you probably know that. I mean, we're old, so... But, like, 60 plus. There's a much higher percentage of 60 plus people on Facebook,
I had no idea.
Than Instagram or Twitter or definitely, like, TikTok, Snapchat. Like, I had a brief dalliance with Snapchat. Yeah, dalliance. And I couldn't really get into it, so, like, So...
Snapchat is like for the tweens right now or something, isn't it?
Actually, that's probably more for the tweens like 5 years ago.
Oh,
because it's been around a while.
No,
so I don't know what the new thing is.
I can't even keep up with rumors.
Like, I know, man. Like, I will probably be much more conversant once my daughters get into their teenage years. I'm sure I'll know a lot about what it is for the teens at that point. But right now, I couldn't tell you. I'm almost 40, and I don't really hang out with teenagers. So
you'd be a creep if you did. I'm kidding.
Yeah, it'd be a little creepy.
Unless it was.
I just mean like I don't have. I think I have some friends that have teenage kids, but like I just don't spend much time around teenagers. We're getting way off into the woods.
Yes, we are.
Into the woods, into the weeds here.
To the bamboo forest.
What were we talking about?
We need to go back to the bamboo forest.
So, okay, back around to... Let's jump back to episode 1, where he first comes into town there and meets... Now, remind me the correct saying of her name.
Well, the dub we watched, they named her Corey.
Corey. Easier to say, I guess.
Actual name is Kaoru, if I'm not mistaken. Kamiya Kaoru.
Kamiya.
Kamiya, called Kaoru.
So Kaoru would be her personal name?
Yes.
Okay, so Kaoru. Maybe they thought it sounded too much like cow. I don't know. Kiri. Anyway, Kaoru meets...
I don't know.
Meets Himura.
Yeah, Rurouni Kenshin.
No, Kenshin. Meets Kenshin. We'll use personal names. And she thinks he is the Batusai...
the manslayer, or in the dub we watched, the slasher.
The slasher, yeah.
Batusai
the slasher.
My dub said manslayer.
See, that's so much cooler.
Yeah, it is.
Batusai the manslayer. Yeah, we were...
Batusai the ninja juice maker.
So she thinks he's him, which ironically, she's right, but not for the reasons she thinks.
Yeah.
Because some jerk has been going around the town there killing people, but claiming the name Batusai. And so we find out that this guy later is a member of, or was a member of her father's dojo.
Yes, which he inherited.
Do we find more out about her father as the series goes along, or is that kind of just left?
I think that's just left.
Just left.
Yeah. And I wanted to point out the manga storyline and the anime storyline eventually diverge. And I don't know a lot about the manga storyline, so I don't know if the manga explains more about her father or not.
Yeah, because they had a very brief scene with him where he dismisses the. I can't remember the character's name right now, but
Gohei.
Gohei,
Or
yeah,
Gohei.
where he dismisses Gohei, and but he's kind of off in the shadows. You don't even really see his face. And I'm like, just the way he's presented himself. I was like, I want to know more about that character. He seems cool, and obviously he's an important influence on Kaori.
Kaoru.
Kaoru. Sorry, Kaoru. Yeah, so I guess it's a little disappointing, so we don't get to find out too much more. But something I was curious, like, did dojos, is it common for, like back then, do you know if it was common for, and you get the idea that it's phasing out, like when this is taking place,
Yeah.
but like, was it common for like each town to have like a single dojo, and like that town was known for a particular fighting style? Was it kind of tribal almost, the fighting styles, or is that more of a dramatic license?
Well, you might be on to something when you say the fighting styles were tribal. They were definitely. There was definitely competition between the different kendo sword styles.
Mm-hmm.
But would I say that each town had a different one? I would say no. It's possible to have two different fighting styles, two different dojos in the same town. It really just depends on if a sword master has a unique style or technique that he wants to pass on to newer generations, and if he wants it to be more personal and only pass it down to one or two students like a child, or if he wants to open a dojo and earn an income doing it.
Yeah, I was gonna like, is that historically accurate? Did people actually earn income by being teachers of sword styles, or is
It
that
must be. I haven't studied the actual real world history, but it comes up in different media like Usagi Yojimbo.
I mean, that would make sense. You know, be like the local teacher. I mean, so it was it almost similar to how you might have a martial arts dojo now, because you don't have too many like sword fighting dojos around. There's probably some somewhere.
They still exist, even in America.
That would be fun, actually.
They use the wooden bokken, wooden swords, but live blades are illegal in America. This is a display, which I'm sure you all knew, because I'm not going to have a real sword, right?
Really, they're illegal.
Yeah, live blades are illegal in America.
Tell me how that makes sense. Like, you can own an AK-47, but you can't own a live katana. Like,
it makes no sense.
Makes no darn sense.
I'm gonna throw this katana at you at light speed.
I know, it's like, which would do more damage? It's like, I don't know. Maybe maybe we get a little political for a minute. Maybe the NRA is like fought against it or was behind that.
I have no idea.
We don't want katanas here. We got our guns. Sorry, that was a little.
Well, they didn't fight for katanas being legal. That's for sure.
That's true. Maybe we didn't have enough people who cared. You know, to bother to fight for that. But no, that makes me slightly sad. But yeah,
because
you can certainly get big knives. You can get big knives, that's for sure.
Yeah, you can.
So no, I guess if you really want to learn it, you got to go be in the movies or something, and like become an expert swordsman so you can display it.
That's a good point.
I mean, I'm sure there's people that do like reenactments and stuff. But yeah, that would be fun though. Yeah, then you could like translate it into like Jedi sword fighting.
I think there's a lot more Jedi sword fighting in America than Kendo. But.
This is true. Oh, this is totally off topic, but I saw on Instagram, I forget which page it was, but they were showing a clip of someone on stage at Disney, and Disney had made an actual retractable lightsaber. Did you see that? Yeah.
I didn't see the video.
It looks like it looks almost like it does in the movie, where it like goes back in. Like it's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
I'm curious about that. Maybe we could talk about that later, but
I'm too. That's all I know about it.
You didn't see them hit each other's lightsabers or anything?
No. It just showed a guy carrying it around, and then he retracted it, and that was all it showed.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately. Let's see. So back to characters. do they do much more development with I keep wanting to call it
Kaoru.
Kaoru. Keep getting it wrong. Kaoru. Throughout the first arc, do they develop her character much more?
No, I think that's the thing.
So they show her prominently, like even the pictures I've seen, like, and then I'm in this as well. Like, so it made me think like there's gonna be like a romantic interest at some point.
Yeah.
So there is that.
Yeah, that well, the romance definitely develops somewhat, but as far as character development goes, I think for the most part, our characters are basically going to be static going forward. What I mean is that they don't change incredibly from who we're introduced to. I mean, in episode 7, Kenshin, the episode you didn't see, Kenshin is in danger of becoming the Batosai again. I won't spoil that up. Well, I guess. Well, do you want the episode spoiled? We can talk about it later in the episode.
You can go ahead and talk about it. Like I'll watch it. So like,
yeah. Well, he runs into another enemy from his past, another Batosai.
Okay.
Well, actually, that's not true. The other character's not called a Batosai. It's a Hitokiri, a manslayer. And this other manslayer kidnaps Kaoru and is choking her to death. You remember in Dragon Ball how there's ki energy?
Sounds familiar.
Well, this other samurai, this other manslayer, has a ki energy attack where he's suffocating Kaoru because he's commanded her.
Is that where George Lucas got the force choke? I wonder.
What?
Because is he choking her from a distance?
No.
Okay.
That happened in the 70s.
No, not from this. I mean, the idea of ki.
No. Ki. Oh, yeah.
What is a ki energy choke?
Well, I think it comes from Eastern religion.
Yeah, I mean, I usually hear it said chi.
Chi.
Is it ki?
It can be pronounced either way.
Oh, okay. But he's like physically choking her. Or something.
He used his ki to command her lungs or her body to stop breathing automatically. So she's choking.
Suffocating.
She's paralyzed. And
suffocating would probably be better.
Yeah, you're right. Suffocating.
Okay.
That's the word actually used in the dub. My mistake.
Yeah.
But so this enrages Kenshin, and he's on the verge of killing the man in order to rescue Kaoru from suffocating to death.
Yeah, and he comes close. Like he's trying his best not to kill Sanosuke because he doesn't want to kill him.
Yeah.
He sees some good in him, and he doesn't want to do that. And he tells him that repeatedly. He's like, I don't want to kill you. Stop.
So I think the character development definitely happens, but I mean, throughout the whole series, Kenshin is always being tested to see if he'll go back to being a manslayer or not.
That makes sense.
But some of the characters, I feel like, after a certain point, they stop. The development stops, and they become static. I don't remember Yahiko, which you know is Yoshi in this dub.
Is that the young boy?
Young boy. I don't know of him having any character development. Not that I remember anyway, past what we saw in his introduction. He just becomes the little brother of Kaoru throughout the series, basically.
And they're like fighting all the time.
Yeah.
As siblings are wont to do. Okay. So he doesn't age. Does he age, or is it kind of...
No, I don't think so.
So the 3 seasons is not necessarily 3 years. It's just like an indefinite period of time kind of thing.
Right. No, I don't remember any of the characters aging until the end. Now, because we actually do see... I don't remember if it's in the series or if it's in a movie, but we actually do see Kenshin die. I don't want to be too spoilerific, but that's only this anime. We have a new anime coming, and the manga is completely different.
Yeah, like I'm interested in
the manga does not end like the anime.
Interested in reading some of the manga, and as Will mentioned, in fact, I think I told you about it this morning. Like,
Yeah.
As I was doing a bit of research, apparently there's another series coming out, at least in Japan. Don't know yet whether it's releasing in the U.S. Probably streaming somewhere, but they're going to. Sounds like they're going to reboot it. They're going to base it on. So, I guess we'll see whether it follows it more closely or whether it also diverges.
From the manga.
Yeah, it's been over 20 years. Almost more than 25 years since the first one came out. So they're as it seems is happening a lot these days. Like it's getting rebooted. So hopefully they'll do a good job. But yeah, so be looking for that, and we might follow up on this topic again when that does come out.
Right.
And if we have a chance to catch it, like if it is available on streaming in some way, we may come back and revisit and maybe compare the two. Well, we'll see if and when that happens.
So, did you want to move on to the next character?
Yeah, I guess
I'm not sure how much more time we have.
Let's see. We got about 10 minutes.
Okay.
I did want to talk some about Sanosuke Sagara because that's one. When we got to episode 4, I mean, for one thing, like Kenshin's character is developed more. Like episode 3, you find out some of his motivations. You meet someone that he used to fight with, who's now. Was that guy actually the shogun, or was he just a warlord, like a daimyo?
Who?
One in episode 3, the military man that finds him, and like they used to fight together, and he asked Kenshin to come and work for the government, and Kenshin declines.
He's just. I don't remember what his position in the government is.
It's pretty high.
Did they say he was the chancellor or counselor?
He was like the head warlord or something, like the way Kaoru. You know, she's talking about him. She finds out his name, and she knew who he was. She's like, it's, I think Yamamoto was his last name.
Well, he's not a warlord because the Meiji Revolution changed the government. Now, government is not ruled by warlords anymore.
Right. Yeah, not anymore. But like, I think she said the head military or the head general or something.
Oh, okay.
It's like the head of the military, so he's very high up in the government.
Right. That's true. He did offer Kenshin a military job.
Yeah, and he gives the impression he's going to come back and try to recruit him again. He's like, I will not give up. Kenshin, I will not give up.
And he comes back the next episode you haven't seen yet.
Okay, episode 6.
And Kenshin says, okay.
Wore him down. It didn't take long.
Not about the military job, something else.
Oh, okay. Do. It's like, I'll do this one thing for you. But getting back to, so I like they developed his character more, and then they introduce another character which seems to have almost pretty much as significant as a backstory. Like he almost initially, the way they introduce him seems like he could even be a
protagonist.
No, like almost an equal to Kenshin.
Yeah.
And he definitely gives him a run for his money, so to speak, in the fight at the end of the 5th episode, and but he's not quite his equal, at least not yet. But yeah, his character, I really liked his backstory and how they dealt with that. So do you like that character as well?
Yeah, I love that character. I remember him being one of my favorite characters because of his backstory.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like we delve back into his backstory later on, but as a fair warning, I haven't seen this series in over a decade.
Wow. Okay.
So,
yeah.
So, 15 years ago. That's when I actually watched through this whole series.
We are
so
old.
There might be things that, like me talking about, the characters become static. There might be some things that I'm saying wrong because I don't remember. But I think we get some more backstory from him.
That'd be cool because it does tie in pretty well with Kenshin's
and he has a great backstory.
And that is one of the things like it gets into the royalists as he referred to them, to whom Kenshin was connected. um, and the Tsukiho force that it's like he's like an apprentice, I guess, to the captain or something like that. Kind of like his I don't know what the Japanese term would be, but like
Student.
his sword carrier or his teacher or something like. I'm trying to think of the English term. There's a term for someone who would carry a knight's sword but is also
armor bearer.
No. Squire would be kind of an assistant, but also maybe a trainee on some level. So he's kind of maybe the equivalent of that. But he's with him when all this goes down, and then they're tricked by the government basically into signing up for the war, more or less. But then the government makes them promises that they can't keep, and rather than trying to fulfill those promises, they decide just to kill everybody. Which is messed up.
It is. Fun factoid, that really happened.
Did it really?
That was real history.
Ah.
The only thing that was changed is that Sagara Sonosuke didn't exist.
Right.
That's why he was the only survivor. That's why he was pushed off the cliff. Because he didn't
So there were no survivors.
No, there were none.
It was a slaughter.
Yeah, it was a slaughter. But that was real history. Was
that like it? That just reminded me of a scene from The Last Samurai, where at the end, the final battle, they kill all the samurai there in the field. It reminded me of that.
I think that movie actually takes place during the Meiji Revolution.
Yeah, I know. It was a similar time period. Like you have the uniforms reminded me of what they wore, like the uniforms of the police, like when they introduced the police and the sword police and all that. The only ones allowed to carry swords legally, like, and then doesn't one of them have a gun? I want to say. But guns make an appearance, so obviously it's advanced enough for that. But yeah, like Japan was kind of coming into the modern world, quote unquote. So yeah, it did remind me a lot of The Last Samurai and the kind of that time period. But I know The Last Samurai takes place is post-Civil War, so it's a little. Whereas this, I think, is like 1850s. I think.
Yeah, that's.
So it's a little before that time, I guess.
Okay, well, I forget the exact year that the Meiji Revolution took place, but I definitely know it was during the 1800s.
Well, I know. I was just reading your.
Oh yeah.
Your novel there. It came out in '92, and at the beginning it says 140 years ago, so I assumed it meant 1850s. Right. But I could be wrong. As could the author, but I doubt it. He would know more than I'm sure. Okay, so but that slaughter actually did happen, and then historical fiction, I guess. Yeah. Like he's like the lone survivor.
And they made him young so he would be a certain age for this series.
Yeah, so he's maybe a little younger than Kenshin, but not a lot younger. Like maybe 6 to 7 years younger or something like that. Yeah. So he'd be probably early 20s. But yeah, like he goes around, like you see that he cares about people, like he hates bullies, but then he also just wants to fight people because he's like still angry and bitter about what happened, understandably so.
And I think he's a martial artist too, so he has pride in his abilities.
Okay.
He's like Rocky,
or
Balboa. Does that make sense?
Or a Saiyan.
Yeah.
A Saiyan never loses his pride.
Ha ha.
Just need to know I can still fight. I still haven't seen Rocky. I need to see it.
Oh.
I own it, but I haven't seen it yet.
No wonder you didn't get that reference. And
you I understand it. Like, I mean, Rocky is one of those things that lives in the culture almost. But I haven't actually seen the movie yet. Believe it or not. Let's see.
There was a noise.
So I think that
It happens when you're in the yard.
So I think that's everything I took notes on, at least. In our last minute here, is there anything else that you wanted to add, kind of as we're closing up here?
Well, the first story arc doesn't get to our next main character. Otherwise, we formed our main group. Kenshin, Kaoru, Yahiko, and Sonosuke. There's another character. I think her name is Megumi, but I can't remember right now.
And she comes later.
Yeah, she comes later, probably in the very next story arc. A drug dealer who is of opium, who is encouraged by Kenshin's story in order to turn away from that and become a doctor, a medicine woman.
Cool. I look forward to it. So yeah, those of you who haven't caught it yet, it's on Hulu currently, and obviously you can probably get the DVDs and on Amazon, or I think it's a Blu-ray release as well out there.
It's probably on Crunchyroll, but for some reason I can't put Crunchyroll on my TV. I don't know why.
So sad.
So sad. It's probably had a much better dub.
Yeah, probably so. So catch out Rurouni Kenshin, and if you have seen it and you like it or have thoughts about it, let us know. Drop us a voice message or send us a direct message on Instagram.
Yep. Correct me for all the wrong things I might have said.
Yeah. And just let us know what you think. And if you are angry about our hot takes or we got all the details wrong, like Will said, let us know that too. Yep. Let us know you're live. We would appreciate hearing from you.
Except for the political hot takes. Save that for Facebook.
Hot takes. Oh yeah, we did get a little bit into politics, didn't we? I'm officially independent, by the way, so I'm not on either side technically. So don't worry about that.
I don't care.
I tell you, I go in cycles. Like I'll
but
get
I
into
don't
it for a while, and then I get burnt out. I'm like, ugh. And then around election time, I'll get into it again, and I'll get burnt out, and I'm like, ugh. And it comes and goes.
I would vote Libertarians, but we know they'll never win the presidency.
I actually did vote for a Libertarian. Jo Jorgensen.
Cool.
Was actually the only female candidate, by the way. In the last race, you had Trump, Biden. I know people say, like, you're throwing your vote away. But the problem is, like,
that's
they're never going to get elected if everybody always keeps saying that. It's like,
that's true.
If everyone's like, you're throwing your vote away. Well, that's what the Republicans and Democrats want you to think, because they want to remain in power. So if a third party were to ever come up, people would have to stop thinking like that and just go ahead and vote.
This is true.
Let's not go there. Stay away from politics. This is
libertarian joke.
This is nerdy pop culture entertainment.
That's right.
I know sci-fi. We do talk about sci-fi quite a bit, and sci-fi definitely doesn't shy away from politics. So it's not that there's no place for that in our podcast, but maybe not this episode. Although it did address democracy in there, which is cool.
Yeah.
So you have the contrast to like Sanosuke, who admires democracy but doesn't like how he's like, I don't like how you. I don't know. For some reason I'm thinking he said the word asshole, but I don't think that was in the dub.
No.
But something like the PG equivalent. Of course, I guess that would be a PG word, but anyway.
I think the only word
like you jerks.
Yeah.
Give it a bad name, basically, because these guys were drunk and they like slapped the waitress and stuff. It's bad.
Oh, and the waitress.
Did she come in later?
She's definitely a reoccurring character. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. She definitely got sweet on Sanosuke there, so I assumed she might come back.
I don't think the two of them. I can't remember if the two of them become an official item or not, but there's definitely that attraction remains there.
Yeah, he's very much a gentleman there on the first encounter and stands up for her honor, I guess.
Yeah.
And against the drunk punks, we'll call them the drunk punks.
The drunk old men.
Well, they didn't look that old. Like,
oh, really?
30s maybe.
30s.
Yeah. Although that is old.
Our age.
Right. Yeah, our age. Drunk old men. A new podcast coming to Spotify. Drunk old men.
I bet a bunch of people would listen to that.
Probably would. Two drunk old men.
You're just really plastered before we record.
It would be very entertaining, I think. I think. I've been told I'm pretty funny I've only been drunk like twice in my entire life, and yeah, it was both of it was in relatively, but yeah, it was. yeah, both instances were interesting. I didn't break out into Spanish. My wife always thought I would like break out and start speaking Spanish, but it didn't happen. But yeah, I did have a very long like philosophical discussion though with my roommate. I was on a trip, and it was the last night of the trip, and like there was about 8 of us on the trip, all guys, and just a dude's trip, and we all got drunk the last night. So we got back home, and he still had some tequila left over. So we like finished. We had to finish off the tequila because it's the last night of the trip, right? So we're both like fall over drunk, but we're having this lucid, like philosophical discussion about religion. But like in between points, we're like falling over. It's hilarious, and we were loud too, apparently, because the guys in the room next to us were like complaining later. It's like, what are you guys talking about? It was hilarious. Like, so yeah, that's infamous now. Whenever that group gets back together, it's like, yeah, remember when you and so were having a drunk conversation?
I could just hear y'all now, just trying to say God, but slurring it, not like a country preacher, but
just break out like, glory. Don't get me started. Anyway, yeah, so that was the second time I was...
You got politics and religion this video.
Yeah,
2 for 1.
That's right, a 2 for 1 deal. You weren't expecting that in an anime review.
What else can we do to offend these fine people?
Although I suppose, in fairness, like, it did get into politics. The anime did get into politics, for sure.
Yeah.
And it hasn't gotten into religion yet. But yeah, no, I like that too. And that's one of the reasons I like sci-fi.
It gets into religion later.
Okay, yeah. Which I have no problems with. I have no problems with it getting into that. I mean, because that's almost any culture, at least over the last 5,000-6,000 years, that's a big part of the culture. So it's like, how can you not talk about it?
Yeah.
If you're doing a series that takes place in that era, it would have been a part of the culture, right? So, of course, which I guess I don't know if Buddhism was the main religion in Japan at that point, or if it was something else.
It's Buddhism and Shintoism.
Shintoism, yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah, that's like involves the worship of ancestors, right? Quite a bit. Or maybe not the worship of ancestors, but definitely like veneration, maybe is a better term. I think
How do I describe Shintoism? Well, I'm definitely not an expert on it, but it's a belief that there are spirits in all the trees and forests and things.
Okay. That's probably where some of the ideas of Japanese monsters come from too, I imagine. Like,
yeah, I was just thinking of that.
Interplay between the two, maybe.
So, and these spirits, they're not... You know what? This is a conversation for another time.
Yeah, but you guys got that for free. Bonus.
Yes.
So, a little tidbit. So, politics and religion in the same episode. We even name dropped the NRA.
Guess which religion gets brought up in Kenshin?
Buddhism?
No.
Shintoism?
No.
Christianity?
Yeah.
Really? Well, I guess that makes some sense because there probably would have been like Jesuit missionaries or whatnot at that point.
Yep, there are some. Yep, you're on the nose.
Is that what shows up? Jesuit missionaries? Okay, yeah. Well, I know they were some of the first Christian missionaries to make it to Japan, right? I think.
Yeah, and that's another philosophical debate and battle coming up in a future season.
Okay, cool. I like it. Yeah, well, this is one where, like, a lot of the stuff we've talked about, where we watched the first few episodes so that we can have something to talk about in the podcast. I haven't been interested in picking it up, but this is one where, like, it kind of has grabbed me. I'm like, I actually want to watch the rest of the series.
I like it. I definitely like the series.
Yeah, I like it. So, hey, yeah. Cool. Nerds, thanks for joining us. Next week, we are going to be doing our review of the new, and my mind just drew a blank, Shazam, the new Shazam movie. Which, by the way, spoiler, well, it's not really a spoiler, because they spoiled it, because they put it in a trailer, but apparently Wonder Woman makes a cameo.
Oh, really? It's Gal Gadot?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
Gal
great.
Gadot, too, like, Gal Gadot.
Gadot.
It's Gadot.
Oh. I've been saying
pretty
this
sure.
wrong for years.
Gal Gadot. But yeah, she and it's right at the beginning of the trailer too. She's like, I didn't want to be spoiled, you jerks. But yeah, apparently she's in there. Maybe there's another cameo that they are not going to show until it actually releases. But that comes out this Thursday, and so we're planning to go see it at Marketplace Cinema, and we'll drop an instant review right afterwards. And then when we get a chance, we'll dive in a little deeper to it. So yeah, looking forward to that. You want to show your sword off again? And no, yes, for those of you that are listening, it's a literal sword. It's not a euphemism.
Yep.
It is a katana. Yeah, he actually has a.
Don't want to confuse people on
katana.
that. Yeah, I don't know how it happened. My sheath is broken right here. But anyway,
I get that looked at well. No, don't want a broken sheath.
Oh yeah, where did that fall to?
No broken
Like
sheets.
that song, Prostrate Fall. Okay. Always wondered what that meant when I was younger.
Oh my goodness. Somebody bent over too far when they went to the doctor. Which I have yet to experience that yet, but it's not too far away because I'm getting old.
That reminds me of my colonoscopy.
You'll have to regale us with tales of your colonoscopy someday.
Politics, religion, and bathroom humor.
That's right. That's right. You gotta, and some sex humor. You gotta throw all of it in there. Because we are the irreverent nerds. You gotta have a little bit of. I mean, that's our byline: nerdy, nostalgic, mildly inappropriate.
Yeah. We have to make up for how reverent I was last episode over Stan Sakai.
That's right. Yeah, we there were no jokes in the Stan Sakai episode. Yeah, it's like straight serious. I'm getting really cold, so let's go. All right, nerds. Thanks for joining us. Live long and prosper.
Sayonara.